What's up YouTube? Today we're going to look at an XTM Mammoth. This is a huge truck, huge Nitro RC with loads of great features that, if you like Nitro trucks, going to be a little bit interesting for you. So let's start with the basics and get some dimensions and size and weight, etc. First, let's start with the wheelbase, and this has a big old 410, so that's 410mm wheelbase. It's got an overall width of 430 and a total length of, oh, look at that, .610. So that's a big truck, and let's get a weight for you out of that. Now I have to weigh it this funny way because it's heavier than the scales can take. So it's 4694 without two wheels. And then one wheel is 447. So we've got 5720. And that's with no body shell, and also there's no battery pack in the car. So that's a heavy truck, 5720 with no body shell. You're probably comfortably looking at over 6 kilos for the truck running. Right, let's get into it. So we've got a 28 size engine, which is SH based, you can see by the C on there, and that doesn't seem like a huge engine for a truck this heavy and big, but we'll get into the gearing of it soon. We've got 8 alloy threaded shock absorbers there, and they're quite nice pieces, all aluminium, oil damped, threaded, adjustable collars, so they're nice. And as you saw in the beginning drop video, they control the suspension really well for that big truck. Almost perfect damping there. Pretty standard XTM type wishbone, double wishbone setup, adjustable top arm. One thing I have noticed on these is that lower wishbone, you can see gets a bit of a curve on it because it's so long. So I've often seen those a bit banana shaped over the years. The thickness of those wishbones doesn't really accommodate the extra length. They're still just the buggy size thickness and stuff. So they are pretty strong, but it is under a lot more load being away from the center of the body, longer, and with bigger wheels, etc. on. Actually, while we're talking about that, just getting back to the wheels, they are big wheels. They are about 170 and 100 wide. So that's a big old wheel tyre combination, a bit like the Proline Big Joe 40 series. They're not so heavy, there's not so much tyre, so they do have decent acceleration, which you can almost feel there. And that tread pattern, although it looks quite funky, is quite good. Again, almost like those Big Joes from Proline, with decent supple deflection, etc. So the truck rides pretty well on these wheels and tyres. Right, let's get back to the truck. So we've got a sort of Savage style bumper and skid plate, which so you can ride up things, and that's got these bent supports here. Can you see them? Yeah, see that bend in them? So that's to accommodate good flex on a big hit. The shock towers are plastic, and they go to the bulkhead. Deep down in there is just standard XTM 1/8 scale diff assembly, so that's the same across all XTMs. We've got a twin servo steering arrangement. So let me put some power on that to give you an idea of how that goes. Here we go. Got that? They both move in different directions, and you can see how they basically used two steering arms from their 1/8 assembly. Not the fastest servos there, but that does keep understeer at bay and control the truck. Look pretty cool. Right, following beyond, back behind that, we've got this big long drive shaft there, which just gets thicker in the middle. Let's give that a spin. We've got a big centre brace, that hexagonal alloy between that front bulkhead and the centre diff. We've got a 2-speed gearbox arrangement here. So this is centrifugally engaged gears, so once they reach a certain RPM, the second one engages, which you can adjust. There'll be a lever that flicks out in that groove there, and there'll be a hole for adjusting it. I think it's down there. You can adjust the tension on a spring, which sort of sets up when the second gear will engage. Those are two big steel gears there. Got quite a lot of flywheel effect to them, so that will slow down acceleration a bit. But that's the way, and you can see the massive ratio on them. Look how huge they are compared to the clutch bell, which is a standard sort of size. You see that there? 2-speed clutch bell. So that's a lot of mechanical reduction. Huge fuel tank, so plenty of run time. It's a big one, that, look at that. And then, yeah, standard size engine, which does look a bit small in there. But does the job, plenty of torque out of a 28 engine and that kind of gear reduction. Once we're onto that, we've got this quite nice fatty stubby exhaust, which not only looks good but gives a kind of deeper sound as well. I'm giving it more of a roar than a high pitched wail that you get from Nitros. And this stinger pipe's quite effective at keeping the overall noise level down. So I quite like that setup. Looks cool, unusual, looks good, different sort of sound. Moving on to the back, we've got the same double wishbone arrangement. See that wishbone's gone banana shape again. Standard 1/8 type axle, 17mm hex drive, standard type dog bone, just all a bit longer for this extra width of truck, adjustable top arm, double shock suspension. Let's look at this articulation. Look at that. That's amazing. Huge range of movement. And that gives you an idea of that wishbone flex too. But look, I mean, if you set that up a bit softer, possibly with these preload collars all the way back, you know, you'd get almost crawler level articulation out of this truck. Could be very interesting actually to see its crawling abilities with this much. I mean, look at it down to that axle. That's huge. A huge differential across the sides of the vehicle. That rear bumper skid plate. And moving around to here, we've got throttle servo, radio box, and battery pack box. Now what you might have noticed was a space for an extra servo here. So that a very rare option on these, and these mounting holes all here in the chassis. Very rare option on these was to have a reverse gearbox controlled by that servo. So I've never come across one, I don't think, with one fitted, but it is possible to have a reverse gear box assembly here controlled by that servo, sorry, down there, and that would be, you know, like a really cool piece of kit there, giving you that monster truck reverse off third gear. So if anyone's got one of those, feel free to show it off in the comments, because everyone would like to see that. Chassis thickness looks to be about 3.5mm, so just the same as their other 1/8 scale stuff. I think it's strong enough with those big braces. There's a rear chassis brace diagonally down there, and if you can just see it, that diagonal down there, is about strong enough, I think. So not extra strength off that. Then let's look at the underneath. We've got nice gear cover for those steel gears. Pretty expensive gears, so good to protect them. On the other hand, they also protrude a fair way underneath the chassis as well to accommodate that, how big they are. So they've gone with over 1 centimetre of those gears going underneath the chassis. Those bumper skid plates as well nicely protect the front of the chassis and the back. So yeah, even though the truck's used, it's not overly scratched down there. And a simplistic plate type chassis with a slight upturn here for rigidity. So there you have it. I mean, this is an interesting truck. Let me know what you think of it. It's a good alternative to like a Savage or a tmaxx. It's big, it's heavy, rolls like thunder when it's coming towards you with those huge tyres. Drives pretty well, they're easy to work on, lots of parts are accessible. It's got a decently low centre of gravity, great range of suspension movement, all steel with drivetrain. You know, it's a nice one, nice truck. I'm not sure if you've ever seen one of these before, or if you used to have one. Let me know what you think. And I'll try to get you some pictures with the body shell to finish off.